You don't even have to fuel before your walk. Fueling is not necessary, but let's go back to the number one principle of having protein first thing in the morning. That's what I do every single morning, no matter what I'm doing. Gentle walk, pickleball, strength training, cardio, or HIIT. I'm always getting protein. Gaining belly fat in perimenopause and menopause, even while eating trim healthy and doing all the right things. Feeling exhausted, inflamed, and so done with the scale? Hey, I'm Chris Honeycutt, Jesus follower, trim healthy coach, and your midlife hype girl. I believe God didn't design you to live stuck, bloated, or burned out. This podcast helps you partner with your hormones, ditch the belly fat, and finally feel strong, calm, and confident in a body you actually enjoy living in. Hello, friends. Before we dive in today, I just want to say I see you. I remember what it felt like to do all the things, cutting carbs, skipping snacks, pushing harder at the gym, only to see zero progress and feel totally defeated. That's why I created the Midlife Fat Loss Formula, a 6-month group coaching experience that's all about working with your midlife hormones instead of against them. If you've been feeling stuck, this might be the exact shift you need. You can check it out at bit.ly/join fat loss formula. Again, it's bit.ly/join fat loss formula. I'd love to walk alongside you in this season. Hello, my friends, and welcome to the Menopause Makeover. This is Coach Chris, aka Honey. I am here to give you some honey nuggets today about how to fuel for your workouts the best way for your midlife body. So let's be honest, working out in midlife feels a little bit different, and it is. Maybe you're used to running on coffee and or a granola bar, or maybe even fasting and being able to crush a workout. But now the same approach leaves you drained, sore, or even gaining weight. If you're in perimenopause or menopause, your hormones have shifted and the way that you fuel your workouts has to shift as well. So the good news is we can fuel with proper fuels such as protein and carbohydrates, and we can give our body the jump start that it needs in this menopause season. What happens is when our hormones walk out the door, we become less resilient. Not to say we're not resilient, but we are a little bit less resilient. And so our body tends to go into more of a stress mode. And one thing that will stress your body out is not enough fuel before your workout. We want to have a little bit of fuel in our body so that when we start working out, our body is like, oh, okay, I'm fed. I've got something here. I've got money in the bank. Let's go. In the past, when we did fasted workouts, and maybe you were used to that, and I was too, your body could handle that. But as we hit our menopausal years, because of that shift and because of the stressor that is, when we don't fuel properly, we can work against ourselves. We can actually increase cortisol, which will decrease the amount of muscle that we are able to build. So what we want to do is we want to fuel properly during that season of perimenopause and menopause. So let's go to the 3 key fueling workouts. Number 1, we want to start our day with protein. Whether you're working out or not, ladies, protein is going to be key. We can have protein in the form of animal protein. We could do some plant proteins, but you have to realize we don't have all the amino acids in those plant proteins. So if you're doing plant, you may have to add a little bit of animal protein to that. We can utilize our protein powders and essential amino acids, which I love. And we also want to think about what type of workout we are doing. So we're going to fuel with protein for any workout. The suggested amount of protein is around 15 grams, but that is just an average that we're going to shoot for. When we are doing some type of strength training, fueling with protein before and a little bit of carbs. When I say a little bit of carbs, I'm talking about energizing foods. I'm talking about a small amount, maybe 15 grams, a small apple, a small orange, a half of a banana, something like that. That is going to give you just a little bit of carbohydrates in there to get your body going. So we're going to give ourselves a little bit of protein, a little bit of carbs, and then we are going to do our workout. I personally will usually do some type of smoothie. I will do a banana smoothie with optimized vanilla protein powder. I don't put any fiber in there because I'm wanting all of that to go straight into my system, and fiber slows things down. Another way that we could fuel would be to use the essential amino acids half before our workout and half after. So there's so many ways to do this, and I don't want to confuse you, but I do want you to understand what your body needs. So if we are doing cardio or HIIT, I like the same approach. A little bit of protein, and I might have a few more carbs here. Why? Because I'm going to be going hard. So for me personally, when I'm doing a HIIT or cardio or pickleball day, I'm going to have my essential amino acids or my optimized whey chocolate protein milk. And I might do a gluten-free sprouted piece of toast with a half a teaspoon of honey on there. I don't like fats before my workout either. No fats and no fiber, because I'm wanting the protein to hit and I'm wanting the carbohydrates to hit to give me that energy. I want to talk to the woman who's wondering if it's just too late. If you've been thinking, well, I guess this is just how it's going to be from now on. Maybe I'll never feel strong or lean again. I want to speak directly to you. It is not too late, my friend. Your body is not broken. You just need a plan that works with your hormones, your metabolism, and your real life. That's why I built the Midlife Fat Loss Formula. It is my 6-month group coaching program where we walk step by step through the exact things your body needs to shift back in to fat burning mode. You'll learn how to eat in a way that fuels you, how to move in a way that actually works, and how to create sustainable habits that last beyond the 6 months. It's not about perfection. It's about progress that sticks. Women like Michelle and Anita are seeing major shifts, not just on the scale, but in their labs, in their confidence, and even their strength. So if you've been needing that nudge to take the next step, this is it. Come on over to bit.ly/join fat loss formula. That's bit.ly/join fat loss formula. I would love to support you inside. And second, when I'm just having gentle movement or mobility days, I can really fuel however I want to. You can fuel with an S meal. You can fuel with an E meal. You don't even have to fuel before your walk. Fueling is not necessary, but let's go back to the number one principle of having protein first thing in the morning. That's what I do every single morning, no matter what I'm doing. Gentle walk, pickleball, strength training, cardio, or HIIT. I'm always getting protein. If it's going to be higher intensity, I'm going to be adding the good carbohydrates minus the fat and fiber. So you're going to fuel the first thing in the morning, then you're going to fuel properly for those types of workouts, what we just talked about. And 3, we are going to refuel within an hour of working out. So let's just do a scenario here. If you had an adequate amount of protein before your workout, and I'm talking 25 to 35 grams of protein before your workout, should you refuel after? And I like to say yes. I like to say your muscles are open, they're ready, and yes, I'm going to fuel. And most likely, I'm going to fuel with essential amino acids. If I have not had any protein, then the answer is absolutely. I'm going to make sure I'm getting at least 3-gram leucine, which is going to be a full serving of essential amino acids or optimized whey protein powder. If we're eating, we want to eat within that window, that hour window, and you want to make sure you're having 4 to 6 ounces of chicken or fish. You can utilize some cottage cheese and yogurt, but it does not have that 3-gram leucine. So you might have to pair a little bit of animal protein with a little bit of dairy protein. That will give you those 3 grams. Why do we need the 3 grams of leucine? That is the needle mover for muscle building. So that's the main thing we want to look at is how can we feed those muscles the 3-gram leucine? There are different ways to do that. You can have your essentials before during and finish afterwards, and that gets you covered. You can have it afterwards as long as we have a little bit of fuel before, or you can do it like me and bookend, and you can have some before and some after. Most of us aren't even utilizing all the protein that we're getting anyway, so I'm not super concerned going over that number 20 to 30 because that's about what we're getting. So we want to refuel, and that refueling is very important. And you really have about a 90-minute window, but it's best within that first hour. So the way that I like to do my workouts is I like to work out mid-morning, and I will have a pre-loading smoothie, which would be half of a banana and the optimized vanilla protein powder. Sometimes I'll even throw a teaspoon of essential amino acids in there, and I will have that. I will drink that, wait about 15, 20 minutes, do my workout, and then have a full serving of essential amino acids. That's the way I like to do it. Then I can eat my lunch whenever I want to. And I actually do suggest, if your lunch is after your workout within 1 or 2 hours, to have that be an E or an energizing lunch. Why? This is not a rule, you guys, but this is helpful because your body is in fat burning mode. It's revved. It is ready to deal with carbohydrates. Your body does really well with carbohydrates when you are moving your body. That's why I personally like to have my carbohydrates, my e-meals, and I have about 2 per day, sometimes more, during the day when I am active and need that energy. In the evening times, it's not to say I never have an e-meal, but I like to have more of a light S or that fat-based meal where I can get satisfied. I have a little bit of fat there. I know I can definitely go for a walk after dinner, but I just don't need a lot of fuel for energy because I'm going to be winding down for the rest of the evening. So that isn't a hard, fast rule, but it can be very helpful, and it can work really well with stubborn losers. It can work really well with women that have metabolisms that are somewhat slow, or maybe their hormones are in healing mode. And having those e-meals after your workout and even your breakfast be an e-meal as well can be very helpful for those energy levels. So the 3 things I want to highlight here are: start your day with protein no matter what, choose the right fuel for your workout type, and then refuel within 1 to 2 hours, more like 1 hour after your workout for best muscle building and recovery. Did you know that I have a free community of women in midlife just like you? Busy women who are working hard to lose weight with the Trim Healthy plan but feel hijacked by hormones and unexplained weight gain. I share menopause tips, superfood spotlights, delicious recipes, and so much more. Come join us at facebook.com/groups/get your trim on.